Hello everybody and welcome back to the Europe Premier League here in Season 3. I'm Apollo, joined with Kalaris once again. How are you doing?
Not too bad. It's been a nice few days of games. Can't wait for day number 3.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get this underway. We're drawing towards an end now of week number 1. We had 3 days, well, this is the 3rd day. We've had 2 days already and coming into the 3rd one, and things can only get better from here.
It certainly can. It's going to be awesome. And also, we would like to once again say a big thank you to ROCCAT for joining us yesterday as the official sponsor here of WCS Europe.
That's right. Welcome, and thank you, of course, to ROCCAT. And so now it's time to get into business. Let's remind ourselves, though, what we've seen so far. We had Group A on day 1, and there was an interesting start to the Europe Premier League this time around. We had 4GG go through in first place. I think a lot of people expected him to do well. He was playing from France this time, not Korea in Season 2, which was his downfall last season. And then, surprise, surprise, in second place in Group A, we had Targa, the Norwegian.
Very impressive play. Naniwa going out. Something that a lot of people did not expect, but it happened. And then, indeed, we have to move on to Group B.
Yeah, I mean, in Group B, we had another weird day, but a fun day, which was yesterday. And in first place, we had Happy, who, in the round of 32, is always going to get through in first place usually, followed, surprisingly to some, but expected to others, Duck, the European reigning champion from last season, in second.
Yep, unfortunately for some viewers out there, TLO was eliminated, and that's one of the foreign hopes that had the potential to move on to BlizzCon. So now a lot of eyes rest on people like Grubby, for example, maybe even Lucifron if he can accrue a lot of points. But of course, we have our 3rd group here.
That's right. We're just getting really into things now in the Europe Premier League in the round of 32. And here is our group for today, which consists of a fantastic lineup. The start of it, at least, will be VortiX and MVP. This may look like a very predictable group. And Showtime and Noname are the other 2 players in here. But this could be an interesting one, even though it seems very simple on the cover. And deeper into the book, deeper into the group, I think things could get complicated along the lines here.
It certainly could do. VortiX finishing top 8 in the previous season, and unfortunately for him, did lose to Naniwa, so was not able to go to the season finals, but still looking for a very, very strong performance here in Season 3. If he were to fall out in the round of 32, in comparison to Season 1 and Season 2, that would be an absolute catastrophe for him.
He'd be going backwards.
Yeah.
In Season 1, he got to the round of 16. Season 2, the quarterfinals. Round of 32 here, that's not the place he finishes. So far over the summer, he's got a minimum finish of a round of 16. So everyone's expecting him to go through. And another player that everybody is expecting to go through, probably in first place today, is the Season 1 champion of the Europe Premier League. And bear in mind as well, in the season finals, he was also top 4 in Season 1.
A lot of points gained from that. And, you know, sitting 8th place in the WCS rankings right now, that gives him a good cushion to advance onto BlizzCon later in the year. However, this is still his opportunity to gain more points because we're actually not really seeing MVP anywhere else. He just competes in WCS Europe, and we don't see him anywhere else.
Yeah, so this is very important for him. Like so far in Group A and Group B, we had 2 players that were looking to get to BlizzCon, Naniwa and TLO. They messed up to a certain degree. MVP could do that here if he wasn't to escape from this group. But now let's look at the other 2 players in this group. 2 players that aren't really expected to advance through. We should go into this very open-minded because anything is possible in the WCS. We've seen upsets every day of the week. First player, Showtime.
Showtime's one that I'm pretty familiar with in terms of the EPS scene, the German scene, and he's not doing too badly for himself. Even this season, he actually won one of the EPS Cups against the likes of people like Mouse Marine and ATN Soccer. So good performances by him, and in the end, finishing around 6th place in the EPS, which is no small feat in the German scene. But he doesn't have full international recognition and had to play so many series during the qualifiers to the point where he got into Challenger in Season 2 and beat the likes of Targa and San. So very, very good for him. Let's see if he can prove himself here today.
I mean, a lot of people don't really know who he is, so hopefully we can really elaborate on that during today's broadcast. And another player that we don't really know too much about as well, funny his idea is Noname coming in 4th place in this group.
Literally and figuratively here, as Noname is a guy that, well, he actually breached into Challenger very, very early on during WCS Europe. He didn't have to play that many series to get in, but he's been stuck in Challenger for the past 2 seasons, and to get to this point now, he actually played against, in Season 1 even, he played against VortiX twice and lost, so stayed in Challenger, but then in Season 2 was able to defeat, sort of, no less, to actually get into Premier. So good results from him.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to today's group because these 2 unknown players, to a certain degree, on the big international scene. Remember, this is the WCS Europe Premier League. You know, Noname and Showtime, first time here, debuts in the Premier League. But as you said, Noname's been around in Challenger League for both seasons prior to this, and now finally making his way in. But let's take a look at the bracket and look who's playing against each other first. As you mentioned, Noname in Challenger League Season 1 had to face off in the group stage of Challenger League against VortiX twice in a row. He lost the first game 1-2, and then he lost the second one just straight out 2-0. But he goes up against him first here today.
It's going to be a very interesting match because Noname, he's full of surprises, man. And then our second match of the day will be MVP versus Showtime. As always, dual tournament format, guys here. Winners play winners for that first round of 16 spot. Losers will fall down to that lower bracket and then compete against one another. And once that's over, they play against the loser of the upper bracket to determine that second round of 16 spot.
Yeah, I mean, just the regular format, we've seen it day in, day out for many a year now in StarCraft 2 tournaments, so hopefully you should be able to follow it quite easily here today. And that kind of sets us up very nicely for the first game of the evening, which, as mentioned, is going to be Noname versus VortiX. And I'm personally quite excited for this one because I've watched a couple of Noname replays in today and yesterday, and I noticed that he's a very good, solid Terran player. I've spoke to a couple of pro gamers about him as well today, and they said the exact same thing. He plays a very normal 3 command center style, very macro focused, very aggressive when he gets into rhythm of things once his upgrades kick in. But is he going to be open to the likes and the experience of VortiX, who knows how to be a Terran player? Let's say it that way.
Yeah, he certainly does. VortiX currently in WCS, in the WCS system, sits at 6 series wins and 1 series loss against Terrans.
Exactly.
So he's pretty good at this matchup. And interestingly enough, we just did the vetoes. As is the trend here, currently all 3 new maps, or brand new maps being added to the ladder, Yunsu, Frost, and Polar Knight, have all instantly been vetoed. So we'll be
like day 1 and
sticking
day
on
2.
the older maps for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of expected here. Coming into the season, this fresh season with fresh maps that were a week-ish, I think a week at maximum, before were published before the season started here. So all the players seem to be vetoing out the new maps so they can play on their most comfortable maps, which are the ones that they've played many a time before. And I think until the round of 16, we'll continue to see people veto out. Maybe towards the end of the round of 32, we might see him to crop in a little bit more. But with players having vetoes each here, getting rid of them quite fast.
Very fast indeed. All 3 going instantaneously. And now our first map will be Whirlwind here for this match. And as you said, you're pretty excited for it. I'm pretty excited for this as well. Both of these players seem so strong in this matchup that it's going to be a really, really good clash. It might even surpass some of MVP's games. We'll never know.
Well, we'll have to see, because it's quite clear how we look at this group. There's 2 favorites, MVP and VortiX. Everybody's expecting them to go through. The majority, should I say, because I know a couple of you do like Noname and do like Showtime. Oh my gosh. But there's the 2 names, those 2 I just mentioned, that aren't really expected to make it through. But I'm going to approach this group very open-mindedly. I think you guys should as well. And let's see if an upset can happen, because it's the WCS Europe Premier League after all.
And now we can get into game number 1 here, as we have spawning up the top right-hand corner our Red Zerg, representing Mouse Sports and Spain. He is Mouse VortiX. And down to the bottom right, we have our blue Terran, representing 3D Clan and Russia. He is Noname.
Another Russian player in the Premier League alongside Titan here today. We'll see how he can do. Can he make a name of himself here in the Europe Premier League? Because things could get quite heated here in game number 1 of the day. But looking at Noname, you mentioned it earlier, he's been in Challenger League since the beginning.
Yeah.
I looked at his qualification run. He tried to get into Premier League as long as, well, with everybody else, right? It was a 1,000-player bracket 4 days in a row. There was a ton of players trying to get in. Didn't quite make it, but Challenger League was in there Season 1 and got beat out 4-1 overall against VortiX. I'm sure he wants to get some revenge here. This would be the perfect stage to do so.
Absolutely. It would be funny, actually, if Noname, he like actually has a tag and he's just waiting for himself to gain a little bit of fame. And he's like, actually, I was never ever called Noname, guys. This is my real tag. I'm going to start using it now.
I was waiting until the round of 16 of the WCS Europe Premier League to use it.
It was kind of like a test of his valor and strength. He kind of had some respect for that kind of position. But anyway, it's funny because Noname, the one person that really stood out to me on his road through qualification for WCS Europe was his victory against MC 2-1. Of course, not the same matchup here, but being able to beat out a player like MC is no small feat. So Noname can certainly take very, very strong wins off high-level players.
That's right, and VortiX is exactly that, with a round of 16 finish in Season 1 and a round of 8 finish in Season 2. Let's see if VortiX can continue to climb, because as the record stands so far, he's destined for a round of 4 finish here. But maybe he'll surpass that and get to the finals and maybe win it all, because VortiX, for me, is a great player. I've liked him. He's actually probably my favorite Zerg at the moment in the European scene. There's a lot of different Zerg players I like. Starbucks, another one I'm quite fond of, actually, but I'll get on to him when he actually comes up in the Premier League later on. But VortiX is a player that I love his style against Protoss, non-evolution chamber base. We've seen it a lot. He's got a great style against Terran as well, because, of course, he meets his brother in every tournament. He loses to him a lot, but he also beats him a lot as well, and has got a lot of experience in this matchup.
It's funny, actually, that they used to practice a lot together, but now not so much. I wonder if that's because one of them just started winning a lot and didn't really see the point too much. But anyway, regardless of that, Noname here, going for the scout, having a look around. Hasn't seen the spawning pool yet, but you can pretty much infer that after seeing this hatchery. He's going to go and try and check the third even as well here, just in case, for any kind of craziness. And aside from that, Noname opening very economically as well. So it's really nice to see Noname just hitting his stride with his macro, trying to get that going into a longer game, not trying anything too crazy here.
The builds I've seen from Noname, he, like I mentioned, he does play a very solid style, but he also throws in a lot of random builds, which makes him a very unpredictable player as well, which is what I liked about him the most, is that he will 2-rack you, which is the reason why VortiX in this game sent out a drone scout, because he probably knows him. Noname's a Grandmaster player. The players know each other very well, but he's also thrown in a lot of Blue Flame Hellion builds. He's thrown in like 3 barracks combat shield style, from the likes of, who used it a lot this weekend? Sorry, Bomber the other weekend, Season 2 finals. So there's a lot of variety that Noname has here against VortiX, but VortiX has always been a heavy queen player. 4-6 queens, he's always been like that.
Yeah, and he's already getting those first 2 out here. We'll see what he wants to go up to. But you're right, he uses those so well, not only to push that creep out into the middle of the map very nicely, but just for the defensive block. Many times, it's a little bit harder for those Terrans to breach when there is that wall of queens, maybe even evolution chambers as well there to block off. But now Noname switching up his buildings, just getting in those Hellions, I should think, on the way.
Yeah, and he's sending out an SCV to scout if there's an all-in coming. Very smart to do here, because he went in, and at this time, he's looking for an all-in if there's units coming his way already, and he's also on top of that gonna see if there's a third base down or not. It's a bit of a just special scout here, just to make sure he's super safe, because as you say, he is going 3 command centers.
Yep, it's on the way,
and he'll see the third, so he's like, okay.
Gets full confirmation of that, so Noname's pretty happy with what he's seen thus far. The queens will fend that off as well, and we do only have the 4 queens out here thus far for VortiX, but that's enough here at this point. Just to be able to hold this off.
Yeah, VortiX traditionally is a very Zergling, Baling, Mutalist player. Just always has kind of used that style. But he could throw in the Roach Hydra style that we have seen from a lot of different Zerg players in the European scene and outside of that as well. But so far as we can see, Noname set up quite normal. Widowmine's coming out a little bit earlier than expected, though. Only 2 Hellions and then straight over to Widowmines. That's interesting. Very defensive style here.
Yeah, very defensive, you're right. And, well, it should hold Noname pretty stably here, but VortiX could quite easily just stop flourishing in the macro behind this. He's already got his 1-1 on the way. He's getting speed, arguably a little bit later than normal, but, you know, he's not being threatened by anything, so he didn't even need it at the beginning.
He just sent an Overlord Scout, though, and saw that the double engineering base didn't come down, which is a build that we saw from Flash earlier today in the WCS Korea Premier League. He saw the addition of the starport nice and early, extra barracks nice and early. Actually, no, excuse me, he didn't see the starport, just out of his range. I thought he did, but he's seen the additional production and not additional upgrade structures, the engineering base. So he started his unit production early. He's got the Bailey Nest coming down at a perfect time as well. He's on top of the things. He's on his toes a little bit here, kind of expecting that we could see some aggression coming out from Noname shortly.
And that wouldn't mind, if VortiX was paying attention, he may have spotted that. And the layer is not going to complete in time for him to actually spread any creep there, but at the same time, Noname sending over those Marines to clear that up. So, wow, actually, the addition of a Viking very quickly as well here, just to try and clear out a few Overlords. Very, very nice choice. But there are Lings moving into position.
Yeah, especially in these positions, because if he clears up the Overlords on the right-hand side, drops are going to go crazy up that right-hand side lane. But we do have Lings running towards this third base. The Marines with Stim, but not enough of them yet.
Certainly not. There's only 3 Marines left on the field here, but the Hellions, well, one of them does get picked off as well there, so that's not too bad a trade for VortiX at all.
Yeah, the Widowmines need to be in much, much better positions here.
Ooh, these Lings are actually doing quite a bit more than I was expecting. There's actually no more Hellions left over. The Widowmines do get the connections, but he's lost more than he should have done.
Yeah, and VortiX is putting the pressure on. He decided to build a 16 additional Zerglings behind this too. He's going to ramp it up a little bit. He's going to kill SCVs on this third base. And Noname, I just really think that his Widowmines are out of position on the natural here.
Yeah.
That's the big difference from a lot of other Terran players and just standard normal play. There should be a bunker immediately on that third base. And these Lings will continue to pressure it.
Well, they're going to, and it's going to be very, very annoying. He doesn't really have the numbers to clean this up. Only 5 Marines out right now. These Zerglings are absolute going to town. He's already killed off 13 workers.
Yeah, and he's just been slowed down here. So this is a bit of a bad start here, let's say. 15 workers going down. He's been slowed down with his extra production a little bit. He doesn't have the best income he has, and that's the reason why his production slowed down, because he should have been mining properly on that base. And VortiX takes a little bit of a lead already in this game. But look how well VortiX is playing. Immediately, Bailing speed. 2-2 already coming down. 7 Bailings just in case his opponent was to bounce across the other side of the map. As his spy's completed, he gets +1, and even Mulas are going to begin now. This is a really solid game so far from VortiX.
Yeah, extremely so. I think that, well, there may be a little bit of nerves in the factor here for Noname, as the third base just, it could have been handled a little bit better there by him. And meanwhile, VortiX, he's just taking full advantage of this. He knows what he's doing. He's been in these pressure situations a lot of times. He knows what to do here in this kind of tournament.
Armory's a little bit late. Supply blocks are happening. Noname may be crumbling under the nerves on stage here, playing in the WCS Europe Premier League for the first time. It's his debut, remember. He's played in nothing as big as this before. Nothing to the size of this. But he is about to go drop on the other side. But look at that, already picked up.
Oh, the Mutalisks, I find that at the perfect moment. Forced to retreat as well here. And Noname's a little bit of an unsuccessful
Even turrets
round.
are late as well here. Just all these small things are pushing the favor towards VortiX, who has this 30 supply lead already.
Yeah, and adding on it a macro hatch as well as an extra 4th base. So this is really allowing him to... It's going to get to that point where Ling Baneling Muta player is going to overrun completely with the hindrances that Noname has had to himself. It's going to be difficult to hold off a huge, huge Zerg wave here for Noname.
Especially if he takes losses like this one on the natural, losing 1 medevac, almost a second one there too. And slowly but surely, we'll see this unit count start to rise. If there's only a couple of turrets, he'll start picking them off in the main base. And then, as you said, very smartly, we will see a big attack from VortiX as his 2-2 upgrades complete. He has a big timing window before his opponent's 2-2s complete. He'll trade much, much more cost efficiently. The one thing that he doesn't quite have yet is a lot of overseers with his Mutalisks, because the Widowmines are around. They're spread around quite nicely, and that is the one thing that Noname could hold on to. With the right Widowmine hits onto the Banelings, things could turn around quite easily.
Yeah, certainly. He has to be meticulous about his control, does VortiX, but at the same time now, with the 84 drones he had out on the map, down to 83 for a second there, but with this economy that he has powering up behind this, look at this. He's going to max out so fast from this point, maybe in like 30 seconds, a minute, something like that. But once he does, the floods can occur, and it's going to be brutal if Noname doesn't have the perfect setup.
Yeah, I hate to tell you this, but, you know, Noname's getting outplayed at the moment. There's the infestation pit on the way down. VortiX is saying this game's so easy for me. I'm just going to go up to Hive so easily. And that's what we don't actually see the infestation pit come down this early, because players can't have the freedom to get up to the Hive because they're being harassed all game. But it's VortiX the one that's controlling this.
Oh, there's 5 Widowmines, but they're all on the ramp here. A lot of the bio is actually separated over to the left-hand side, and it does get crushed down by a lot of those Banelings. All the Banelings just charge through anyway here to kill off a lot of that bio, and it's going to be a sad story for game 1 here for Noname.
Look at the supply. He's already dropped below 100 already, and he hasn't actually done anything to hurt VortiX in this game. GG called, and just a stomp there. As simple as we can call it, just a very one-sided game 1.
Very much so. VortiX, looking very, very powerful here in game number 1. He took full control of that game. I would like to say, though, one of the reasons he may have taken full control of that is because there were no real movements from Noname to try and take the control himself.
Yeah,
when his Hellions moved across, they didn't do anything or anything like that.
The Hellions didn't do anything. He was slowed down on his third base. His drops were denied instantly. He tried a couple of things. Well, he tried one, which was the double Medivac play, but he was already very much so slowed down because of the Zerglings that got to the third base. And from there, it was just downhill.
A tough, tough game there for Noname in game number 1. That's not the start that you want when you need high spirits and high hopes going into a group of players such as people like MVP and VortiX. And Noname's got it all to play for. Akelon Waste is our second map.
Yeah, we'll see if he can step it up here. Akelon Waste is a bit of a more, I'd say, slower map than Whirlwind's can be, because it's easier to protect the third base here. Unlike Whirlwind, where you need to go out in the open and then up a hill to take your third. And that's where we saw Noname get out-positioned a little bit there. Wasn't set up nicely with a Mine's Bunker and so on, the things we mentioned. But on Akelon Waste, it's a lot easier. You can have rocks destroyed to protect the third. If there's rocks in the way, units aren't just going to run in there so freely like we just saw.
Yeah, you're right. And as you said, it's just a bit more of a more stable map here for Noname. So hopefully we see a 1-1 situation. I would love to see all 3 games. We had a very quick day yesterday, so I'm hoping for maybe a little bit more of a prolonged day today, as I would like to see even some of these relatively unknown players do well as well.
Yeah.
I love the system of WCS to actually try and showcase some of these newer names like Noname, Showtime, and Starbuck, as you previously mentioned, who's a crazy, crazy guy.
That's right. So we'll see if Noname can step it up a little bit because, as mentioned, he's playing against a quarterfinalist from last season. VortiX has been around for a very long time. He's had excellent results in his StarCraft 2 career. He plays for a premier team in the European scene, Mouse Sports. VortiX is a great player, but Noname, let's see if he can step it up.
All right, let's jump into game number 2, guys, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner are Blue Terran, representing 3D Clan and Russia. He is Noname. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, our red Zerg player representing Mouse Sports and Spain. He's Mouse VortiX.
I think we'll see a similar game coming out from Noname.
Yeah.
The time we see a similar game come out from a player who lost the first one is when there was small things that you just tighten up. You get the screwdriver out, you twist it a little bit, and you tighten the bolts. Because there was just a couple of things that he needed to tighten, and he would have had a much more normal game. If he'd got completely hammered, like he had everything tightened but still got destroyed, that's when we see players change it up. But if it's only small things here, then he needs to change. So I don't think that he'll do anything drastic.
I think building your kitchen's influenced your casting somewhat. We've got power drills for 4GG.
Screwdrivers.
Screwdrivers here.
I've been spending a lot of time in the kitchen. It's almost finished.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff.
It's almost finished. It's almost finished.
That fridge, man, that fridge.
It's a great fridge.
It's a good fridge.
It's a big fridge, and it's great. It's got a lot of room for a lot of stuff.
Good stuff.
And I live by myself. But I have a lot of stuff. I cook a lot, so...
Yeah. Oh, okay, fair play. All right.
All right, so once again, Drone Scout coming out here by VortiX, just super safe against a player that he must feel confident against. I mean, look at game 1. It was kind of one-sided there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's feeling over the moon with things so far and how this is going.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a little bit of a look, see what his opponent's up to. And he's going to see Command Center on the high ground. Again, there have been some builds to try and deal with that, but let's not go into those right now as Noname. Everything's been spotted here for him. So VortiX is probably just going to play his standard game. But this drone being here is kind of annoying because it can't, I was going to say block the barracks, but not in the end. Yeah,
anything you can get with this drone, I mean, it's there for a scout. It's probably going to get killed anyway. So anything you can do with it is always going to be beneficial here for VortiX. And if he was to kill or block or do anything with it, it's a big, big bonus for him. But he goes in, he sees exactly the same opening as before, and, well, pretty normal.
Yeah, sees the gas and knows what's going on. So VortiX behind this, he had his spawning pool going down, probably will end up seeing what he wants to do. Probably straight to the third as well. Takes the gas to keep his drone alive. I'm wondering if he's going to allow that to finish, because if he does, it kind of denies the idea of some options, but not a whole lot.
I wouldn't say denies, but I would say that it pushes opponent 100% into third command center.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But because let's I mean, if we reverse our minds a year ago, this happened all the time. and because Hellion Banshees was so popular. But how often do we see a double gas taken so early on? Not very often. So it's basically saying, all right, I'm going to take this double gas, and this will probably push into a third command center. And now is the question, Alice, you, Claris, pushing your opponent into a third command center, or at least more mineral base, whether it be third command center or additional barracks before it. Does VortiX now, with that information he's gathered, go for an all-in? Does he get double gases soon? Does he go for a Roach Baneling all-in if his opponent goes 3cc?
Well, it's certainly something that VortiX is not unfamiliar with, so he could quite easily do that if he would want to. And it's very, very powerful from VortiX. We've even seen him use things like Pneumatized Carapace for a lot of Overlords to move in and soak up Widowmine shots in the past. On this map, in fact, we've seen VortiX do that. So VortiX special.
Yeah, we'll see. He definitely could pull something out of the bag here. He's taking his gases, not at the optimum time for the fastest all-in. The fastest all-in, the gases are taken around about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. These were taken 20 seconds later. So if he was to go for an all-in, it comes a little bit later than it would be. So it looks at the moment like it may be just a normal game coming out from him, but still, anything's possible.
And those two queens are going to move down to the bottom here. How many drones do we have? 31. We do see VortiX sometimes go on for those kind of more aggressive stances on around 34 drones. That's a number that he does like to go for as well. But at the same time here, is there 4 queens already out? Yes, there is. So
4 queens and even the third base about to be taken, which has been spotted there by Noname. But still, the question of an all-in is not out there. If he was to get... exactly, Roach Warren. That's it. It's going to be an all-in. Speed is on the way. Roach Warren down nice and early. It's going to be a Roach Baneling all-in coming from VortiX.
Darn.
And it makes perfect sense the way that he's played this out. The way that he just can say, all right, this is going to be a quick and easy game. Now, it's down to Noname to figure this out. He knows a third base is on the way, which can kind of confuse you a little bit. But how does he gather this information? How does he know this is coming?
This is going to be difficult for him. I said 34 drones, and he is now on 34 drones. He was on 35 before, so I was going to say Caster's Curse, but thanks for sorting that out for me, VortiX. That's very much appreciated. Oh, he makes another one, cheeky man. But anyway,
there you go.
Anyway, he's sending his lings around here, so I assume there's going to be morphed into like Banelings later on, more preemptively, so that he can make this hit really, really quickly.
I'm really, really scared for Noname. But the one good thing about it is that he does have Hellions on the edge of creep, but Lings have escaped. And that's so big because they're not meant to escape. The Hellions are meant to control everything. They're meant to control all the units that come and go past this creep line. It's a simple mistake, which we even saw Flash, the god of StarCraft 2, make this morning. Did not see Zerglings escape from the right-hand side, and this can be to his downfall here. He'll see the Roaches in time, but behind it, I guess the one thing that's working in his favor, he did get additional structures before the engineering base, so he will have a bit better protection, but still, no winter mines at all.
Yeah.
Like, the wall isn't complete. There's no additional bunkers at all. The Queens are pushing the Hellions back. The Roaches skip past the right-hand side.
He didn't see it. He didn't see them at all, and now those Banelings morphing on up to the top left here as well. This could be an absolute disaster.
He's got no idea. He's got no idea. Look at his vision. He hasn't even seen it. I don't know if he's clicked yet.
He just barely saw them on the very edge, but now he is fully aware of what's going on. He has 5 Marines, 1 bunker.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
This is a sad way to lose the first game of the day here for him.
Oh, the SCVs get pulled off the line as well, and VortiX is going to crush down that first bunker so quickly. That is so much firepower in these Roaches, laying waste to the natural location and just marching straight on up.
He's paused and left. Okay, so I think he realized that he was just going to lose that.
Yeah.
Very easily there. And VortiX says, all right, well, welcome to the Europe Premier League, Noname.
And I just realized I had no sound for that game, so sorry, guys, but there you go. So that was a little bit of an abrupt ending there to that series. And I don't know what more to say on that, really.
Well, I think that Noname just got played quite hard by VortiX there, and VortiX just made him look a little bit worse than he probably actually is. But VortiX moves on to the winners match very fast. The best of 3 finished up in 20 minutes time, if not less than that. Well, congratulations to VortiX.
I shouldn't have said that. I was expecting a longer day than yesterday, because that was quick.
Yeah. This is... Oops.
Oopsie daisies. Okay, guys, so we are going to take a short break, and then when we're back, we're going to have our second series. It's the Season 1 champ, MVP, going up against Showtime.